There exists a threshold in the architecture of wealth that few speak of openly, yet once perceived, it fundamentally alters one's relationship with money itself. I call it the $250,000 rule, not merely a number, but a doorway between two distinct states of financial being. Picture this threshold as a horizon line. Below it, you labor in the physics of scarcity, where every dollar demands your direct effort, your time, your finite human energy. Above it, something shifts. The mathematics of money begin to work with you rather than merely for you. At an 8% return, $250,000 generates approximately $20,000 annually, $1,667 each month flowing toward you while you sleep, while you create, while you live. This is the precise moment when compound interest transforms from an abstract concept in a textbook to a tangible force in your daily existence. When your money begins working as diligently as you do. When financial independence ceases to be a distant abstraction and becomes instead a visible coordinate on your personal map. I've spent years studying the psychology and mechanics of wealth accumulation, and I can tell you this. Most people fixate on the first $100,000 because that milestone requires the most personal discipline, the most sacrifice. But $250,000, this is where the exponential curve begins its unmistakable ascent. This is where patience meets mathematics and creates something approaching magic. Let me walk with you through why this number matters more than you might imagine. Consider the journey in stages. At $10,000 invested, you generate perhaps $800 annually. Encouraging, yet barely perceptible in the texture of daily life. At $50,000, you're earning $4,000 per year. Helpful, certainly, but not transformative. At $100,000, that $8,000 annual return begins to feel substantial. You notice it. You respect it. But at $250,000, earning $20,000 per year, something fundamentally different emerges. This is income sufficient to cover rent in many cities, a mortgage payment, the basic architecture of living expenses. This is the threshold where passive income evolves from a pleasant supplement to a genuine alternative, where you could theoretically reduce your working hours, knowing your investments would bridge the gap, where you could maintain your current career trajectory and channel that entire $20,000 toward accelerating your path to $500,000, then onward to 7 figures. The psychological metamorphosis cannot be overstated. You are no longer simply saving, no longer merely disciplined. You're building a parallel river of income that flows independently of your labor, growing larger each season, each year, gathering strength from its own momentum. This is the point where wealth building transitions from grind to momentum. Below $250,000, you carry the entire weight. Above it, your money begins to carry its share. How long does this journey require? The answer, as with most profound questions, is it depends on your commitment to the path. If you invest $500 monthly at 8% returns, the mathematics require approximately 18 years. At $1,000 monthly, 11 years. At $1,500 monthly, 8.5 years. At $2,000 monthly, merely 7 years. Notice the pattern. Each increase in contribution dramatically compresses the timeline. This is the lever you control. For most people in their 30s earning between $60,000 and $100,000 annually, $1,000 to $1,500 monthly is achievable. Not comfortable, not easy, but achievable, if one resists the seduction of lifestyle inflation and chooses to live beneath one's means. This suggests reaching $250,000 by one's early to mid-40s. For those more aggressive, more focused, investing $2,000 to $3,000 monthly, the late 30s become possible. Here is the crucial insight I want you to internalize. This is not a 30-year goal. This is a 7 to 15-year goal, depending entirely on the intensity you bring to it. Most people never reach this threshold, not because they lack capability, but because they never prioritize it with sufficient conviction. Those who do unlock a dimension of financial freedom that remains forever hidden to those who don't. What changes when you cross this threshold? Let me describe the landscape on the other side. First, financial anxiety diminishes dramatically. You possess the knowledge that even in catastrophe, job loss, economic downturn, personal crisis, your investments generate $20,000 annually, creating substantial runway, breathing room, possibility. Second, you gain what philosophers might call optionality, the freedom to choose lower-paying work that nourishes your soul, to reduce hours and reclaim time, to pursue projects driven by passion rather than desperation. Your investments supplement your income, and in doing so, they supplement your freedom. Third, compounding becomes visible, almost tangible. Watching your portfolio generate $20,000 yearly without your direct intervention creates a powerful psychological momentum. You want to continue. You want to see how far this can go. Fourth, your temporal perception shifts. Instead of thinking in decades, you begin thinking in years. At $250,000, you're halfway to $500,000, which generates $40,000 annually, potentially sufficient for lean financial independence. The horizon draws nearer. Fifth, and perhaps most profoundly, your mindset evolves from accumulation to acceleration. You're no longer asking, "Is this possible?" You're asking, "How quickly can I reach $500,000? 1 million? Beyond?" This confidence, this momentum, this is what separates those who plateau from those who compound their way to 7 figures. Here, the numbers become almost poetic in their elegance. From $0 to $250,000, investing $1,500 monthly requires 8.5 years. But from $250,000 to $500,000 with identical contributions, only 5.5 years. Why this compression of time? Because your $250,000 now generates $20,000 annually, which combines with your $18,000 in annual contributions to create $38,000 in total growth. You're saving $18,000, but earning $20,000. Your investments are now contributing more than you are. From $500,000 to $750,000, 4 years. From $750,000 to $1 million, 3 years. The timeline compresses exponentially because compounding begins to dominate the equation. This is why the first $250,000 represents both the hardest climb and the most important. It acts as a filter. Most people quit before reaching it, never discovering that wealth building becomes easier, not harder, beyond this point. The $250,000 rule is the gateway. The question is whether you'll pass through it. If you wish to reach this threshold, certain practices become essential. Calculate precisely how much you need to invest monthly based on your timeline. Use compound interest calculators and reverse engineer your target. Automate contributions immediately. Let the system save before your conscious mind can spend. Increase contributions annually with every raise, every bonus, every windfall. Avoid lifestyle inflation with the vigilance of a monk. This is perhaps the greatest threat to reaching $250,000, the tendency to expand lifestyle as income grows. Track your net worth monthly. Progress observed is progress reinforced. Stay invested during downturns. Market crashes are not apocalypses, but opportunities disguised as chaos. Focus on boring index funds. The S&P 500. Total market funds. Resist the temptation of individual stocks or cryptocurrency speculation. Eliminate high-interest debt completely. Carrying credit card balances at 20% while investing at 8% is financial self-sabotage. And perhaps most importantly, increase your income aggressively. negotiate raises, change jobs strategically, develop side income streams. The more you earn, the faster you reach $250,000. Once you arrive at $250,000, your strategy must evolve. Below this point, you operated in accumulation mode, maximizing contributions, cutting expenses, maintaining aggression. Above it, you enter acceleration mode, maintaining contributions while protecting what you've built. This means thoughtful diversification, adequate insurance, avoiding catastrophic mistakes. It also means resisting a dangerous temptation, the belief that you've arrived, that you can now relax and spend freely. This is the trap that ensnares many. If you inflate your lifestyle at $250,000, you reset your progress. Those who become millionaires maintain discipline at this milestone and continue forward. They treat it as a checkpoint, not a destination. They celebrate quietly, then refocus on $500,000. This mindset, treating every milestone as a waypoint rather than a finish line, separates those who plateau from those who compound toward 8 figures and beyond. Understand that $250,000 is not financial independence. That typically requires $600,000 to $1.5 million depending on lifestyle. But $250,000 offers something equally valuable: financial flexibility. You can take a 3 to 6 month sabbatical without income. You can switch careers without panic. You can negotiate harder at work because you're not desperate. You can weather recessions, layoffs, emergencies without catastrophe. You can take calculated risks, start a business, invest in real estate, pursue entrepreneurship, because you have a foundation. This flexibility compounds into better life decisions, which compound into greater wealth. People without $250,000 remain trapped, taking jobs they hate, staying in toxic situations, avoiding all risk because they cannot afford otherwise. People with $250,000 possess options, and options compound faster than money itself. At its essence, the $250,000 rule marks the inflection point where wealth building shifts from grind to momentum. Below it, you push the boulder uphill, muscles straining, progress measured in inches. Above it, gravity begins working in your favor. It's the moment when passive income becomes real, when compound interest becomes powerful, when financial independence becomes visible on the horizon. So I invite you to begin. Today, calculate how much you need to invest monthly to reach $250,000 within 10 years. Automate that contribution immediately. Track your progress monthly. Increase contributions annually. Avoid lifestyle inflation as though your future depends on it, because it does. This is the threshold. This is the rule. And on the other side, waits a version of your life you may have thought impossible. The question is not whether the path exists. The question is whether you'll walk it.